Very good. Thank you so much, Wendy. And again, welcome to everybody who's online this morning. Thank you for taking your time to sit on this webinar. One of the interesting things that's really come out of this when we talk about just the idea of social distancing, and by this time next year, we will probably hardly ever use the term social distancing. We're living in a time where a number of these phrases and terms are going to have a really short shelf life. If you look at Google Trends and you look at just do a trending on social distancing, you'll find that the term itself really didn't come into use on the internet per se until the beginning of March of this year, of 2020. By April 4th, it reached its peak, and it's tapering off now. And the way it looks, based on the trend, by the end of the year, it'll be back to zero yet. So although it was an interesting term, and I think it's something that has driven a lot of how we've responded to this pandemic, whether within our personal lives or our professional lives. So what I wanted to talk about today is look at what are we really doing online, give you a little bit of video teleconferencing history. It didn't spring fully formed from the beginnings of the pandemic. Talk about some basic rules of video conferencing, some of the video apps today. How do you grade a video app? And then deciding what's best for you. Because once you, I know many of you are probably working from home. Not a whole lot of you are back in your offices. We were lucky at Athens Group that we worked mostly remotely anyway. Although we've got a few physical offices around the world, the majority of our folks work remotely. So we actually didn't change a bit of our processes, except some people we didn't see face-to-face anymore. I'm doing. The idea of learning new skills, earning CEUs. Maybe that's what you're doing today. All professionals. I'm an engineer. Our company's got we're a licensed, registered Texas engineering firm. All of us have got CEUs to do every year. Staying in touch with colleagues, friends, and family. I know a lot of people when video conferencing apps really started up, and that was really driven by FaceTime. For everybody out there who's got an Apple phone, FaceTime really drove that. So we've been doing that. Training others. Well, when you look at training other people as CAI is doing today, you got to have an app around that is going to support at least 100 participants. You got to provide screen sharing. You've got to be able to do online testing or polling. You've got to have feedback. You as a participant have got to provide feedback to me, and individually, I need to provide feedback to you. And then there's this basic one-on-one emphasis. Although there may be 100 people online, you've got a one-to-one emphasis. I was in a Zoom meeting yesterday where there were 250 people online. Needless to say, I didn't have everybody's picture up on my screen. Delivering projects and products. If you're working offline, or if you're working online rather, and at home or someplace else but not in your office, once again, you're going to need an app that's got to support at least 100 participants, provide screen sharing, provide some synchronous document markup, feedback, and again, the one-on-one emphasis. If you're a team leader, if you're building software, if you're a member of a software development team, if you're a member of any kind of project team, my sister-in-law is vice president at a university in Pennsylvania, and they're doing construction. They've been doing all kinds of things, and she's just moved everything online. Still makes visits to the project site, but the majority of her project management work is done online because she's delivering those things. And then executing customer-facing projects. How much of those are you doing? you're going to need to provide the customer with the app and probably training on how to use it. Many times we're all working with customers who still are not technology savvy. They may have a smartphone, they may have a tablet, they may have a laptop, they may use a lot of different applications, but you're building something for them and they may not understand how the building process works. So again, you've got to have an app that's got at least 100 participants, provide some screen sharing, some synchronous document markup, feedback, again, a one-to-one emphasis, just as if you were working on the projects yourself. And the synchronous document markup is important. Think of in your video teleconferencing app, not only are you sharing a document, but you basically have that document on a whiteboard, or you've got a whiteboard where you're doing markup against the document. Not only do you have to be able to do that and provide the graphics, but you've got to provide the configuration management behind it. Because the last thing you want to do is finish an hour-long meeting with your team or with customers and then realize that there was no way to save your whiteboard. There was no way that those documents were saved. That unfortunately occurs in some of the applications that we'll talk about today. So if you're doing 3, 4, 5, and again, 3, 4, 5 were training others, delivering projects, products, executing customer-facing projects, you're running a project with a remote team. You're going to do project management. So one of the things you've got to be aware of is how you communicate these different aspects, kind of the shared online culture. How do you communicate this to everybody who's on the team? And again, you may have a wide range of people on your team. You're going to have stakeholders with different levels of understanding. So you've got to understand how you communicate. What are your principles? Are you doing synchronous or asynchronous communication? Do you have published standards? Do you have standards on how you are going to work, basically the rules of the road? How do you replace something when a context is lost? And by that I mean you've got a person in one of the projects I did where we used quite a bit of video teleconferencing. We had software development being done in India. Our architect was in the United Kingdom. We had silicon being built in the US, Germany, and Israel. So each one of those different project locations had a separate context. They knew where their documentation was, they knew who their people were, and everything else. How do you replace that if all of a sudden they lose their connectivity, or they, even worse, they lose their repository of information that they've got? How do you replace that?
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.